In March 1884, the arid plains near Tamai in eastern Sudan became the scene of a brutal showdown between British imperial forces and the Mahdist army. As the British prepared to strike, they knew they were walking into hostile territory, where the terrain, the heat, and an unyielding enemy would soon test them to the limit. The Mahdist War began in 1881 as a revolt against the Egyptian administration of Sudan, which was heavily influenced and supported by the British. In 1881, a charismatic man named Muhammad Ahmad declared himself the Mahdi, chosen by God to lead Muslims against corrupt rulers and foreign domination. The Mahdi soon declared war against the Egyptian and British presence, aiming to purify Islam and establish an Islamic state. This was a great worry for the British. By 1883, the Mahdist forces had achieved several victories, including the catastrophic defeat of Egyptian forces under Colonel William Hicks at the Battle of El Obeid. In response to these losses and growing Mahdist power, Britain dispatched a military expedition under Major General Sir Gerald Graham to suppress the rebellion and protect British interests in the Red Sea region. General Graham commanded a force of about 4,500 well-trained British soldiers. Their mission was clear: crush the Mahdist forces gathering under Osman Digna, a fierce commander loyal to the Mahdi. Intelligence reports estimated Digna's army at around 10,000 warriors, poorly armed perhaps, but deeply motivated. The British force departed from Suakin and advanced to Tamai. This is where they would encounter Osman Digna and his assembled fighters. On the night of the 12th of March, the British formed an encampment not far from Osman Digna's positions. From around 1 o'clock until dawn, Mahdist riflemen approached the camp and opened fire. However, their shooting was imprecise, and they inflicted few casualties. At dawn, the artillery was brought to bear against the Mahdist skirmishes that had caused the British issues throughout the night. The skirmishers were driven back by the artillery fire. Knowing the rest of the Mahdist force was nearby, the British formed their famous infantry squares, designed to withstand charges from all sides. The Mahdists could be seen ahead of the squares. 2 squadrons of British cavalry moved forward on the left and engaged the Mahdists with dismounted rifle fire.
Right away.
Under threat of being overrun, they withdrew. The Mahdists continued to advance to the British squares, and within a short amount of time they were in range. The British opened fire and the battle begun. The sides of the square were subjected to repeated and increasingly threatening rushes by the Mahdists. The British forces managed to stop some Mahdist charges, but smoke from rifle fire and dust from the dry plain made visibility increasingly difficult. The Black Watch, who formed the front of the square, were thrown into confusion. The Black Watch found themselves under intense attack from the Sudanese. The square was flooded with a rush of tribesmen, and brutal hand-to-hand combat began. The brigade was forced to withdraw, pressed hard by the attacking tribesmen. Three Royal Navy guns had to be abandoned and casualties mounted. During the fierce hand-to-hand combat, a neighbouring British square concentrated its fire on the Mahdist forces posing the most immediate threat. Their coordinated assault drove the Mahdists back. Seizing the opportunity, the British advanced and successfully recaptured the artillery pieces that had fallen into enemy hands. Shortly after, a group of tribesmen launched a surprise attack from hidden positions in a nearby gully, but they were quickly cut down by British gunfire. Suffering from a huge amount of fire, the Mahdist forces began to retreat. Osman Digna's camp had been overrun, and the battle was over. During this battle, the British suffered more losses than in any other battle of the Mahdist War, 214 soldiers being wounded or killed, 10 of whom were officers. The Mahdists also suffered heavily, potentially losing as many as 4,000 men. The British had hoped that this defeat would significantly damage Osman Digna's prestige, weaken his forces, and undermine his control over the Hadendoa. However, the British failed to deliver a decisive blow to Mahdist power in the region. With the withdrawal of General Graham's expeditionary force later that year, any short-term gains quickly faded, and Osman Digna slowly reasserted his influence.